Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. All right, y'all ready to start? Let's do this.
Yeah. Woo.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
We are live, eSIM Studios YouTube channel and now TikTok, live streaming on both. It's a pleasure to have you in on the platform with us today. We got a lot to discuss. I do have a bunch of new viewers, a bunch of new subscribers. So I want to welcome you to the channel. I want to let you know we are one of the few, if dare I say only, technology-based social media platforms that is probably the most interactive with you, the viewer. And I essentially give you real thoughts. I typically don't do any scripts, which the tech industry is very scripted and it's very annoying and it pisses me off. So that's why I created this channel, to give you a voice, to give me a voice about technology, what we like, what we don't like, what we call out bullshit. And that's what we're going to do today. So welcome to the channel. Please provide your input, regardless if you're watching on YouTube, regardless if you're watching on TikTok. And we're going to do a giveaway. We are going to do a giveaway. We're going to do it here in just a little bit. The show's not going to be really long. I think I got 45 minutes. We'll do it at some point throughout the show. Now, if you're watching on TikTok, I can only do the giveaway on YouTube because it's a StreamYard. I conduct the giveaway through StreamYard. So if you're watching this on TikTok and you want to, and I'll give y'all, whenever we do the giveaway, I'll give y'all a few minutes. If you want to enter, you're going to have to jump over on YouTube, join the chat, and we'll give you a keyword to enter, and we'll do the giveaway here shortly. But I want to welcome everybody. Let's see. We got a lot to talk. Whew, man. Woke up this morning and I was like, oh boy, here we go. I saw the news that the Google Tensor G6 CPU is not what we thought it was. And that's why we got the low scores on benchmarks. So now it's all starting to make sense, right? Now it's all starting to make sense. Ray G834 says, I'm so happy I didn't give up my 10 Pro Fold for the 11. We'll definitely hold on to it for sorry, who is this? I can't join. I can't do a co-host right now. Maybe sometime in the future. I'm gonna, you know, I have members on YouTube. Maybe I'll try to figure out how to do that on TikTok. I got invited to do a co-host. I don't even know what the hell that is. Whatever. I have a members group on YouTube, and I will invite you, the viewer, if you're a member, to join me on the panel and we can discuss technology together, but I'm not going to do that today. Ray G834 says he's so glad he didn't give up his 10 Pro Fold for the 11. We'll definitely hold on to it for another year, and going to try the Oppo for the first time this year. Excited for the 10 Pro Max. Yeah, that's going to be a badass phone. It's going to be like, as soon as it's launched, it's going to be like probably number 1 or number 2 in the world as far as photo and or video quality goes. It's going to have like over 700 megapixels in total from the front and the back sensors. So it's going to be insane. I cannot wait. I think I'm going to get that one as well. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend anybody get anything that came out after the 9A, which is when they pulled this battery shenanigan. Tuned in, you're locked and ready and locked and loaded. Appreciate you joining us today. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a little while. Hope everything is going good with you, sir. To only get 200 cycles on one of the smallest batteries in the flagship and then have them nerf 20%. of that and slow the charging on already slow charging. You've been on vacation? Wow. Well, hopefully you had a good vacation, man. I haven't been on vacation in a long time. Switch to a S26 Ultra 512 and sky blue. That's a beautiful color. I got the black one, and I wish I got. My wife has the white one. I wish I got the black, or excuse me, I wish I got the white or that sky blue as well. Because I mean, the black looks kind of cool, but I really wasn't feeling any of the colors at launch, so I just kind of blindly picked this one. But yeah, that sky blue is beautiful. I got 512 as well. The S26 Ultra. And look, we gave it a lot of crap at launch because it didn't have UFS 4.1. It didn't have a 10-bit display. And we're like, Samsung, what are you doing, right? And it comes down to money, right? We have huge S27 Ultra news we're going to get to. How could I forget? You're not going to want to miss this. So we're going to jump into Pixel stuff. We're going to talk about this CPU. And then we're going to talk about the S27 Ultra. Because for as much shit as we gave Samsung on this S26 Ultra, it's a really good phone. I can't not put it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't not put it down. It's a fantastic device, just all round. All around, it's a good device, right? Even though they didn't put the best UFS storage, even though they didn't put a 10-bit display in there. I never used the privacy display. Who the hell uses that? But it's a really good phone, and I think a lot of it has to do with One UI, quite honestly. But I know a lot of Pixel users aren't too keen on One UI. They don't want duplicate apps. You can uninstall that. Like, they've made it to where you can just, if you don't like duplicate, you know how you'll have Samsung Calendar, Google Calendar. Well, you can uninstall whichever one you don't want to use. You don't have to have duplicate apps on your Samsung device, right? Excuse me. I really like it when the Pixel 9 Pro is the last one worth considering. The rest of them all have 200 battery cycle thing, and in the US, no SIM card slot. In the PowerVR GPU, we're going to discuss that here. We're going to discuss the GPU. We're going to discuss the scores. We're going to discuss the, dare I say, controversy. We're going to discuss all that. I'm just saying hi to everybody. But at least you get the 8 or 9. You get video output in the new enough phone that you can still get these 7 years of updates. I think they're both supported through 2029 or 2030. Yeah, and I think, and look, we'll get to, I think here in a little bit, we'll get to who we think. I think I have a better idea as time goes on. It sucks it's taken 11 years to figure out kind of who the Pixel's for, right? And I'm not so sure it's for me or you, to be quite honest with you. But we'll discuss that here in just a minute. I'm so happy with my 10 Pro Fold. I'm gonna try to Oppo for the first time. Me too. I've had all the OnePlus phones, which is technically Oppo, but I've never officially purchased an Oppo device, ever before. I think I'm gonna give it a try. Like, I feel so restricted as a smartphone lover. And let's be honest, as a phone addict, I feel so restricted here in the US as far as there's only a handful of brands that they want you to buy. I'm not going to be boxed in and told what to buy. No, I'm going to go out. I'm going to think outside of the box, reach outside of the box, and I'm going to buy me an Oppo device this year as well. I think it's everybody I know that has one absolutely loves it. So I think this year is the year. The 2nm Li is really a huge disappointment. I'm about to cancel my pre-order. Yeah, and why don't we jump into that? For the price proposition specs, Google makes it hard to buy the Pixel. They sure do. Okay, so let's do this. I do want to say hi to everybody, but I don't want to, I got a time limit. We'll get to all the comments here shortly, but let's jump into it, right? So, woke up this morning, saw the news, and I just laughed. I literally laughed out loud. I was like, what are we doing? And I know look, I don't want to sound like a broken record on these live streams, but this channel, eSIM Studios, is a place for you, the viewer, to voice your opinion, and myself. I'm no different than you. I just record myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is incredibly frustrating. Now, my initial thought is I was lied to. Now, time out. I know there's some of you that might not know what I'm talking about. So the news this morning is that, guess what? That new Tensor G6 CPU that we all cannot wait to get our hands on, that's what we thought was the United States' very first 2 nanometer chipset. That's a big deal. Like, that's a huge deal. It's not. It's technically a 3 nanometer chipset, and yeah, they're good. I mean, Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen, that's 26 Ultra has a 3 nanometer chipset, but that technology's been out for damn near 18 months. All right. So we're just now getting into the second half of 2026. Snapdragon is just 2 months away from launching their 2 nanometer chipset. And yes, that will be a real 2 nanometer chipset. And just to kind of put some technical terms in layman's terms, the nanometer, when we say nanometer, that's essentially the size and or the foundation of the CPU, of the chipset, right? I've always compared it to like a home. Think of a home as a CPU, and the nanometer is essentially the foundation that the home sits on. So depending on how big the nanometer is on your chipset, typically the smaller the nanometer means the more advanced. Now, typically when you reduce the size of a nanometer on a chipset, you get two big things out of a nanometer reduction, a size reduction. You get improved efficiency, and typically you get faster speeds, because the smaller the foundation is, the quicker and the faster the transition, the information can be transferred if it's a little smaller, right? It takes less distance to travel on the information. These chipsets are very small, very precise, very intricate. And if you can reduce everything smaller, it uses less power and it can travel faster. So you typically see better battery life, more efficiency, and faster speeds. That's why as time goes on, as these get smaller and smaller, you see typically better battery life, but you also see better performance. And now a lot is tied into the performance, but that's the basis of a nanometer. So as time was going on, we anticipated this being a 2 nanometer. Now, I did some homework. Maybe you can prove me wrong. And please do. If I am, please do. We're all about honesty here. I try to be honest. And if I say something that's incorrect, I'm not doing it on purpose. But I did try and do my homework. So I was like, you know what? I was like, did Google lie to us? My wife was saying, you know what? I think Trevor Noah, on the launch of the Pixel, she was saying, I think he said 2 nanometer, because she watched some of it, but you know, who watches that? It's embarrassing. It's really ridiculous at this point. She could have sworn he said that, and I said, damn. I said, all right, well, now I'm gonna be forced to watch this. So while I was eating breakfast, I was like, oh, I'll turn it on to do research for the show. So I not only watched it in like 2x, where it's like blah, 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 but I also read the transcript. Now, technically, he didn't say this is your first 2 nanometer. Now, if you go and ask Gemini will tell you that, yes, Trevor Noah asked whoever he was sitting next to, oh, and this is your first 2 nanometer chipset, isn't it so delightful? And Gemini will tell you, yes, he did. And that's when I was like, ah, crap. Well, now I got to go watch it. And what I was going to do is clip that where he said that, and where the Google person, the Pixel person sitting next to him agreed, yeah. I was going to clip that and put that on our show for today and be like, shame on you, Google. I couldn't find it. Now, maybe they said it outside of the launch event. I don't know. I'm also have a side, or not a side business. I also have a business that I'm running, so I couldn't literally spend hours searching and digging for an announcement from Google, or if Trevor Noah mentioned it and Google just shook their head and agreed. You know, they're like, oh yeah, I couldn't find that. So technically, was Google lying to us? No, at least I couldn't find anything. And that's about an hour digging on the internet, doing some research, watching some videos, going through transcripts. I could not find anything. But I think we have been misled at the very least. Now, I think some of these online publications are to blame, because you can go pull articles from WCCF Tech, you can go pull articles from Android Headlines, you can go pull articles from 9 to 5 Google, you can go pull articles from Android Authority. And yes, there's a ton of articles online saying this is the first 2 nanometer chipset and blah, blah. There's stacks on stacks on stacks of online articles saying this is 2 nanometer. So technically, I guess Google didn't lie to us. Now, I don't know if those publications, I tried to find their source. Okay, so why are they saying this? Where is their information? Why are they telling us it was a 2 nanometer chipset, right? Still kind of vague. Now, I came across something, and I will credit WCCF Tech as probably my favorite online publication, because let me pull something up on the screen, and once you see this, it all starts to make sense. So were we lied to? Maybe. Were we misled? Yes. Big time. So look at this, and I'll do some explaining, but let me pull this up. So here's WCCF Tech. They're a really good publication. Can everybody see that? So check this out. It says the company has mentioned that the Tensor G6 GPU delivers up to 20% better power efficiency, and while this claim could mean a better manufacturing process, meaning a smaller node, you need to be reminded that Google removed one CPU core from the configuration. It's no longer an 8-core CPU, it's a 7-core CPU, which would lead to better battery life at the expense of multi-core performance. It says, to be fair, it's understandable if Google sticks with TSMC's 3 nanometer process, since not only does the company ship a smaller number of Pixel smartphones each year, but choosing TSMC's 2 nanometer lithography would make little sense from a financial perspective. The Mountain View behemoth doesn't target peak performance or record efficiency with its Tensor G6. So adopting the 2 nanometer node would be a wasteful decision. So let's break it down in reverse order. The smaller node, as far as the smaller node, if Google produced or purchased their chips from Google designs them, TSMC manufactures them, puts them together. If they have an agreement with TSMC to make a chip that Google designed on a 2 nanometer chipset, that is the absolute most cutting edge CPU technology that TSMC can offer. Now, they're currently working on 1.4 nanometer, but they're not. These things take years in advance to design, developed, and for it to progression. So we're not going to see 1.4 nanometer probably for another couple of years. But 2 nanometer, this was supposed to be the very first one, and it is very expensive. If you want the absolute cutting edge, latest technology, it's going to be pricey. Now, everybody knows the price of memory done shot up, and some companies are cutting corners, not including the very best specs, because they still want to make a profit on these phones. So that would make sense of why Google probably didn't do the 2 nanometer, but why were we led to believe this was a 2 nanometer? Well, this kind of makes sense because leading up to this point, we got word that, it's going to have 20% better power efficiency. Normally, when you see those numbers in power efficiency, 20% year over year on power efficiency, that means that typically you have reduced the size of the node that the chipset sits on. Those are the typical efficiency gains you see when you go from a 6 nanometer to 5 nanometer, 5 nanometer to 4 nanometer, 4 nanometer to 3 nanometer, 3 to 2. See what I'm saying? So we didn't even question, because I've seen this months ago where you hear little things are here, or a story will come out here about the G6, and like, well, damn, it's got a 20% power. Yeah, that sounds typical if you're reducing the node size, right? So I guess we just thought all along this was going to be a reduction in chipset size. Well, how they got 20% better is by taking out a whole core in the CPU. That's why we are not seeing big gains on the benchmark scores. That's why we're not seeing big gains in single core. That's why we're not seeing big gains in multi-core. They're running on 7 cores. So it's like, oh, it's like the cover's been taken off. It's like the curtains have been pulled back. Today it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, well, no shit. That's why. Duh. But I don't, and of course, so we're not about performance. Yeah, I get that, but why do we have to find out the day after pre-order that this is not a 2 nanometer chipset? Because that's what I was excited about. I like having the latest and greatest. That was one of the selling points for me. Now, maybe I'm the fool, because Google obviously does not care about the best specs. They obviously are not trying to sell phones to tech nerds like myself, because if they were, like Snapdragon, they would be, because when the latest Samsung Galaxy gets launched with the latest Snapdragon chipset, oh, they're telling you all about the new powertrain. They're telling you, oh, it's this, it's that, it can do this, it can do that, ray tracing, blah, 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 blah. And you're just like, whoa, order. With the Pixel, I'm like, what are we doing here? What is this? So look at this. So here we discussed the single core, multi-core scores, not great, the other day. And now we got GPU scores. Now, these don't look much different from previous Pixels, right? Let's see. Now, in the paragraph below the graphic here, I think I pulled this off of Reddit. It says the retail model, not a test device. So this is a retail unit. Geekbench 6 for the Google Pixel 11, housing the new Tensor G6 chip, appeared on Nano Review 2 hours ago, and the results are quite incredible. I don't know who, incredible meaning good or incredible meaning like bad. Let's see here. Single core score 2575, similar to Samsung Exynos 2500 from last year, which was not saying much. Let's see here. Multi-core score 6027, somewhere between Samsung Exynos 2400 and Exynos 2200, which is 4 years old. Let's see. OpenGL score 6027, similar to Snapdragon 870. I'm going to repeat that. Multi-core score. Excuse me. I'm going to repeat that. OpenGL. So this is the GPU. OpenGL score 6027 points, similar to Snapdragon 870 or Exynos 990 from 2019. That's 7 years ago. All this while using TSMC's world-leading 2 nanometer process node. Great job, Google. This person is clearly uneducated, and what are they? Good job, Google. I hope they're trolling, because if they're serious, wow, no, that's freaking embarrassing. Google should be embarrassed to themselves. That's pretty freaking bad. Now, just to give you, let me tell you what my Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 does on, let's see, OpenGL, let's see, Geekbench. Now, I think this was done on Geekbench. Is this 6 or 7? So GPU, my device scores close to 30,000 points on OpenGL. OpenCL. I'm like, what the hell? He put OpenGL. Okay, so they clearly don't know what they're talking about. I was right. I was like, it's OpenCL, right? And then I said, I read OpenGL, and I'm like, in my head, I was like, that doesn't sound right. They clearly don't know what they're talking about. Look, those scores are not good. Those scores are embarrassing. And now it all makes sense. Now that we realize it's... yeah. Oh, boy. Mine scores... Mine are closer to 30,000 points. And this one got 6,000 points. There you go. Now, I'm not saying it's going to perform bad. I'm talking about the new Pixel 11 series. I'm not saying it's a shitty phone. I'm not saying, you can't play games. Or I'm not saying you can't edit a video, because clearly you can, but it won't edit videos as fast, render videos as fast as an iPhone, as a Samsung, as a OnePlus, as a Motorola Signature. It just won't. Now, it'll play your probably Tetris, right? It'll probably play Happy Birds. It just won't play your AAA title games with as many frame rates as an iPhone or a Samsung. It just won't. Now, I think we need to have the bigger discussion of, is this a $1,500 phone? I think that's what really needs. Okay, so look, Google is never going to have, I take ever as a strong word. 20 years from now, they could figure it out. But here in the near future, I'm talking in this year, next year, maybe 3 or 4 years, it is what it is. I think it's time after today or yesterday, I'm done expecting bigger leaps, bigger gains from this Tensor chip. I'm done. I'm over it. I think it is what it is. I think it's fair to say that these are a mid-range phone. And I've held back from saying that. Like, I really have. I swear to God, you can go back on my 2,000 videos. I know I have never considered or called a Pixel a mid-range phone until today. I think it's official. It's officially a mid-range phone. Now, it doesn't mean it's a bad phone. Again, it doesn't mean you're going to have a bad experience. If you're a Pixel user, I think, and you love using a Pixel, I think you're going to love the Pixel 11 series. I think it will be a good phone for you. But for me, as time goes on, I think I'm slowly splitting away from Google. You see, from the Pixel. You see what I'm saying? As time goes on, there's those hardcore Pixel lovers that all they're going to use is a Pixel, and that's fine. Everybody's different. I'm not hating on you. Please don't take today's stream or yesterday's show as a diss. It's not a diss to you as a Pixel user. I think it's just time to be honest and call it what it is. It's a mid-range phone, and at this point in time, I'm not looking to purchase a mid-range phone because... yeah, I've said this before, if you have blinders on and all you're just looking at is a Pixel device, all you use is a Pixel device, you've never used a Samsung phone, you've never used an iPhone, it's a great experience. But here's the problem. That's not the real world. The real world is we do have options, although they've gotten small as of right now, at least for US buyers, but we have options. That's just a fact. You can go out and buy an iPhone at the same price and do circles around a Pixel. You can go out and buy an S26 Ultra at $1,500 and it'll run circles around a Pixel. I'm sorry. Cameras aren't even that big of a difference now. Because in the past, Pixel could get away with this stuff kind of because they had far and away the very best camera experience. All right, and that's just not the case now. It's just not. So what's the benefit of buying a Pixel? Now, again, it's probably preference. Like I mentioned before this, a lot of people don't like Samsung UI, and I get it. It's not for everybody. Some people don't like using iPhones, like myself. Maybe they just feel comfortable with Pixel. Maybe that's why my dad just likes using a Pixel. It's just simple. It's just easy. He doesn't want settings and settings and settings. Maybe that's who Pixel is, their core base is for, is the non-techie people. Well, I don't see how anybody can buy a Pixel at full price. I think that is insane. Now, if you get, maybe that's why they've discounted these heavily right off of the bat. I've seen online a lot of people paying $406 for their Pixel 11 Pro. I think we paid what was the final total? $506, $500. And now that I think about it, it's about a $500 phone. It just is. Like, I'm not paying anything over $500-600 for these phones. It just is what it is. Sorry. And again, that's not a diss. That's just my opinion. And there, again, I hate like I have to feel like I have to defend myself here, but I know there's some people out there. And look, I've been a Team Pixel person my whole life, but as time goes on, I just feel like, there's a little wedge that's being stuck in there, and we're just splitting up over time. At least that's what it looks like for me. And I know there's a lot of users out there that are frustrated just like I am, because I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I mentioned yesterday, I wish they would still kind of work with Qualcomm while they develop Tensor, kind of like Samsung's developing Exynos, but they still lean on Qualcomm. Well, I don't know. I'm assuming Google is too far into their chip making process. Could they go to MediaTek and perhaps develop a chip for the Pixel 12 Pro, 12 Pro XL, and then put Tensor in the A series? I wish they would. In fact, I would buy one in a heartbeat if that were the case. Put the new MediaTek 9500 in, or whatever, 9600 in the Pixel 12 Pro. Whoa, that would be badass. But I think Google's not looking to do that. Like, I just think they're just not concerned with numbers. I don't know what to tell you. I'm kind of at a loss for words. It's like, wow. Man, oh man. Stop buying Pixels for their Tensor because it's clearly being nerfed on purpose to not upset their partners, especially their most lucrative partner in Samsung. Yeah, that's a very good point. It's a weird relationship because they provide Samsung with Android, the operating system, and they depend on each other. Quite honestly, Android, Google depends on Samsung because they're their highest selling Android manufacturer. And Samsung relies on Android to supply the operating system. So they both need each other to succeed, essentially. Do you remember a few years ago when there was that news that, maybe it was more than a few years ago, where Samsung was considering switching to Tizen, or what is it, Tizen, Tizen? Remember that old operating system? I remember there was some news in regards to, this was years ago, Samsung's thinking about switching to Tizen operating system, and I thought, man, what a mistake that would be. I mean, it was okay maybe 10 years ago, but that's when Android was in its infancy as an operating system. They didn't even have like hotspots in their phones. You'd have to flash it. It would not do good if they had switched to Tizen or Tizen, whatever the hell it's called. Do you have thermal throttling performance test results for the new Tensor G6? I don't have the phone. I plan on doing extensive testing, like doing the wildlife test and all that stuff. I'm going to do it when we get ours. But I don't know. Maybe somebody posted something within the last hour, but as far as me doing some research, some homework this morning, I didn't see anything. This was the only, let me put up a better graphic for you. This was the only thing that I could find as far as, graphics or stuff that I could, present to you on today's show. Maybe there's something out right now, but as of this morning, I don't think so. It's frustrating watching some of these creators just go into immediate knee-jerk defense mode. Average consumers don't care about. Average consumers don't spend $1,400 on pixels. Flawed argument. Yeah, and that goes back. Look, something is worth what people and or a person is willing to pay for it, right? It's like the Dallas Cowboys, the most valuable sports franchise. Now, Forbes Business claims that they're worth $14 billion. The Lakers just sold for $12.5 billion. Well, who's to say the Cowboys aren't worth $20 billion, right? What if they went up for sale and they only got $8 billion? Well, then they're only worth $8 billion. You see what I'm saying? Now, I think these pixels at full price is an insane proposition. $1,500. The one I was going to get, $15, $19 or whatever it was. Insane now that I think about it. And God, I would have canceled my order pretty quick, especially after today's news, if I did order one for myself, because I was about to. I'm not going to lie. I was about to. And after yesterday's show, kind of got some steam off, and especially after today, I was like, whew, good thing I didn't buy one. Now, is it a good buy at $500? Yeah. I think a large majority of people watching this right now would agree. $500-$600 at the most sounds about right. $1,500? Hell no. Now, you could say that for the Samsung too. $1,500? Hell no. Okay, maybe $1,000. At least $1,000, right? But 15 does seem kind of inflated. 900, 1,000 sounds about right for MSRP for S26 Ultra. Not for a Pixel. Sorry. But again, if you can get one at that price, well, I know they had a lot of, everybody has to weigh their certain situation, trade in value, discounts. Maybe that's why they sent discount codes. Part of me thinks Google knows this, and that's why they discounted everything so heavily, right? I mean, they got to entice people to purchase this. What if there were no discounts? Probably wouldn't sell many. It's frustrating watching some of these. Oh yeah, my bad. I just said that. Is it worthy switching from Galaxy to new Google Pixel? Not in my opinion. No, there's just not enough to justify that switch in my opinion, right? A large determining factor in the past, at least with me, was camera quality. And look, Pixel might still probably take a slightly better picture. Video is debatable. I think Samsung might have the Pixel beat, because even on the Pixel 10 series, really, I mean, I had posted a couple of videos as far as the optical image stabilization. Still a little jerky. And when you record video, when it switches sensors, the Pixel I'm talking about, when you go from when you go over 5x zoom in video, you get that jerk. When recording videos, do y'all know what I'm talking about? When you're recording a video on a Pixel, if you zoom in and you go past 5x, it switches sensors, but it is not a smooth transition. It is a big time jerk. You can notice it immediately when you're recording and when you're watching it after the fact, when you're watching it on playback. I don't get that on Samsung. So I think video, Samsung has the Pixel beat on video, but still photo, Pixel probably takes a better still photo, but it's not that much of a difference now to where you just automatically grab your Pixel. No, I don't think so. I would stay with your Samsung. That's my opinion. Your Galaxy. I think the Pixel is meant for iPhone users to take first step towards Android, a reference device. Probably right. You're probably right. It's simple. It's easy. Yeah. In fact, I think I've purchased. I mean, I got a couple of family members that switched over to Pixels. Probably right. Yeah, switching or telling somebody, an iPhone user, if they ask you, or excuse me, if they ask me what Android phone they should try if they want to give it a try, I always say Pixel, because if you hand them a Samsung, they're like, whoa, what do I do with this? You know, because there's so many settings, so many layers. It's almost too much for them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, I understand why that they're that's what they're going for. But even though Apple never catered to enthusiasts, they were always competitive with performance. Yeah, they are, or they always have been. Frustrating, isn't it? Frustrating. Damn it, man. I don't know why Google. I don't know why they just turn a blind eye, look the other way. I mean, I get you're not focused on performance, but having performance compared to devices that are 6 years old, 5 years old, 4 years old, really? Like, they don't find that embarrassing at all? At all? Coming from an older phone, S22, it is more worth to get a Pixel 9 Pro or Pixel 10 Pro, especially going Graphene OS since 11 is such a letdown. I think I mentioned this yesterday. My personal opinion is a 9 Pro or Pro XL. Now, you still have your SD card slot. Remember, Pixel 10 series, at least in the US, is when they went to eSIM only. So Pixel 10 series in the US, Pixel 11 series in the US, eSIM only. Now, if you really are dead set on getting a Pixel 10 series, you can get a Pixel 10 with a SIM card slot. You just have to go on eBay and find a unlocked Pixel 10 series that is originating from Canada or anywhere else in the world. But I would try to stick to North America just because of the bands and the frequencies, the cell service. But they're out there. You can find some on eBay. Get a Canada Pixel 10 Pro XL. It'll come shipped with a SIM card slot. However, the Pixel 9 Pro XL, Pixel 9 Pro does better on benchmark scores, benchmark tests than the Pixel 10 series and Pixel 11 series. So that's why I just say the Pixel 9 was probably the best year, the sweet spot for Pixel, right? Just because of the performance, and it does have a SIM card slot. That's what I would recommend. Yeah, and if you're going to go with Graphene OS, plus you can get a Pixel 9 series at a pretty good price now. I think I was looking at them online on eBay the other day. You can get a Pixel 9 Pro XL for like $400. That's a steal, right? That's a steal. Would Oppo phone work on USA networks? Yes, 100%. Yep, they certainly will. They come unlocked. As long as you get the global model, they certainly will. You can beat Samsung when you want it for customization. I know you're loving that new Samsung. I know you're liking this S26 Ultra. It's a really good phone. I'm telling you, it's really nice. It's just an all-rounder, right? Like the OnePlus 15 might edge it out on some performance tests, but it's so close. It's basically a tie. S Pen is nice. The screen is nice, even though, I still think the S25 or S24 Ultra had a more vivid screen. But putting all things aside, it's just an all-around good phone. Like, it does a lot. It does a lot of good things. It doesn't do one thing necessarily fantastic, but it does everything really good. You see what I'm saying? It's a really nice. It's a little on the big side, but I'm used to it. If you're used to using a Pixel 10 Pro XL, actually the Pixel 10 Pro XL, that's a heavy, heavy phone. If you switch to a S26 Ultra, it's actually a lot lighter. So you might have that to look forward to. It's not for iPhone users because our iPhones have all the power we want and need. I think they said that, but minus the power thing. Well, I think I got comments mixed up. I get what you're saying. So Google lied about the Pixel 11. Well, if you were here a little earlier in the show, I searched and searched and searched because I wanted to catch them in the act, right? My idea for the show today was talking about this with y'all, obviously, but I wanted to catch them making a statement, agreeing to putting out in print something in regards to 2 nanometers in this Tensor G6, right? I couldn't find it. Now, like I said earlier, during the Pixel launch event yesterday, Gemini, if you ask Gemini, God dang it, I just activated it. It'll tell you that, yeah, Trevor Noah mentioned it's a 2 nanometer chipset. Well, I had to go, damn it. Now I got to go watch it and clip this little 5-second clip so I can play it for everybody. I wanted to catch them, right? But couldn't find anything. But it's kind of leading on, right? They were kind of leading on. Now, I put more blame on the online publications, Android Authority, not any one in particular, because they all mentioned it over the last few months. So I tried to go find their source. Okay, so where did this information come from? That's what I wanted to find out. Who told us it was 2 nanometer originally? Right? I wanted to go to the source. Where did this originate from? A lot of those articles don't have sources, or it was a rock solid leaker online, like Ice Universe. I'm not saying he did it, but I'm just saying something of the sort, right? That's, I think, where some of the information came from, and then everybody ran with it. Which, look, maybe it was our fault, but that's the direction they were headed. At least that's what we thought. That's what made sense coming into today, because here in just a few months, all the new phones are going to have 2 nanometer chipsets, except Pixel. So, did Google technically lie? No. But they let us on. All day with my Gov account. I get it for government account, $7.49 all day. That's probably, in my opinion, too high. But for you, that might be okay. But that's probably the max. It's probably the most I would even consider spending on a Pixel 11 Pro XL. $7.50? No, thank you. $7.49? Maybe. You'd have to twist my arm, right? But I would say we purchased one for my wife so we can see what it, I was originally going to buy 2, but after, like, nah, let's just get one, see what it's all about, so I don't have to, return 2 if we don't like it. But I think we paid $506, and I was kind of like, yeah. So everybody's different, but at least you're not paying $1,500 for it, because it's certainly not worth $1,500. But I get it. If you need a new phone, if you're a longtime Pixel user, maybe you have a Pixel 8 Pro and that's all you've used, I get it. Eat your heart out. Be my guest. Buy the phone. Enjoy the phone. Keep it moving. You see what I'm saying? There's some people that are like that, and that's completely fine. If you like your smartphone experience, I'm happy for you. I'm not one of those people that, shit on you because you're using a Pixel, you're dumb. No, I don't do that. Like, I want you to be happy with your experience, and that's all that matters, right? Because there's been times in the past where I've had I don't even know what kind of phone it was, but I got called out online. Oh, how you use that phone? I'm like, I love this phone. You know what I'm saying? That's the way you should be. You need to love your experience. But in my opinion, it's a mid-range phone, the Pixel. If we want to classify things, that's just my opinion. And I love some mid-range phones. iPhone has good silicon, although I don't think that's why most iPhone users choose iPhone. At least in the US, it's more of a social communication thing. It sure is, but that's all they know. You know what I'm saying? Like, all they know is powerful CPUs. And the same thing with their M1, M2, M3, M4, M5 chips when it comes to desktop laptops. They've never, I think with this, and I think that's part of the reason why us Android users and or more specifically Pixel users like myself kind of feel slighted, because they're charging us the same amount as a iPhone 15 Pro Max, 16 Pro Max, 17 Pro Max, 18 Pro Max. But it's like a quarter of the performance. You know what I'm saying? They've never had to deal with that. They've never had to feel slighted before. Trust me, you want to hear bitching and complaining? Watch Apple release an iPhone 18 Pro Max and it have benchmark scores like this Pixel 11 Pro XL. The internet would explode. So, yeah, they've never had to deal with it because that's all they know is powerful CPUs. That for the Pixel Fold and my company pays for it. Well, there you go. I would use one if somebody gave one to me for free. But I don't blame you. Shit, use it. You have fun. Like my mom and my sister both use iPhones, and they could give a shit about if they don't know what a chip is in their phone. They just know that everyone uses iPhone in this country, basically. And I think that's another aspect of this, that Google's not concerned with you and I. They're not concerned about you and I bitching and complaining. Well, I'll just say me. I'm not going to put you all in the same boat as me. Bitching, they're not worried about me, eSIM Studios, Taylor Bell, bitching and complaining about this Pixel, right? They see a bigger picture, and the bigger picture is putting their devices in the hands of potential buyers that want and or need a new smartphone. That's all they're concerned about. So they probably would tell me to go kick rocks if I brought this up to them at any point. But for technology enthusiasts, for phone lovers, it's frustrating. But I know we make up a small niche of the market, and that's why they're not doing anything about it. They don't care, quite honestly. If you don't, they don't care, or else they would have been making an improvement on that. The Pixel has never been a flagship. Probably right. And it's just now 11 generations into the phone that I'm realizing that. It's like I've had an epiphany today. It's like, oh, the lights didn't shine down on me this morning, and I was like, I felt like a light bulb done gone off on my head earlier today. I know y'all have been trying to tell me this for the longest. Maybe it's because I'm hard-headed, but I'm on your side now. I certainly agree. It cannot be classified as a flagship. It just can't. You would never use an iPhone because they don't need or allow you to use browsers that are reskin versions of WebKit, Safari, and I don't let you, I think you meant they, install apps outside the Apple App Store. Have any of y'all tried the third-party App Store on Android? Because remember, they secretively, quietly opened up the door for third-party app stores on your phone. I meant to look into that the other day, and maybe I'll do a video on that tomorrow or something, because they were supposed to allow third-party on Android. Remember? I'll have to look into that. I just forgot about it, and I realized it right now. Because iPhone have great user experience. That's your opinion. My opinion is the opposite. I think iOS is trash, is complete shit. It's a shitty operating system. It doesn't make any sense to me. I want to be kind today, so I'm going to withhold my next statement, but it's just not my style. But I see why people use it. The general public uses it, and we'll just leave it at that. Okay, what's going on, brother? This phone only makes sense if Google offers serious discounts. The phone is not worth the full price. It's not worth half the price, dare I say. A third of the price, I think, is more accurate. It's not good for tinkers or enthusiasts or people that want to feel like they own their own hardware. It's also not good for audio since there are no system-wide EQ. I think Pixel actually, now you may mean specific audio. For vlogging, it picks up audio fantastic. The Pixel does. If you're a vlogger, like without an external microphone, it picks up audio great. If you're just holding it around in public, in a crowd, awesome. And the speakers are loud. Now you may get, you're obviously talking more specific with EQs and stuff. I do know their speakers, their output is loud and clear. Their input is nice and precise. But I think you might be talking on a more specific level, which I completely understand. And I certainly have not experienced audio or mess with the EQs. There's no proper desktop mode, there's no video output, there's no stylus support, there's no split screen multitasking, no landscape mode on the home screen anymore. It's pretty plain Jane. It's pretty vanilla. But it does have very good silicon, amazing third-party accessory support. Oh, you're talking about iPhone? I thought you were talking about Pixel. Amazing third-party accessory support in the United States and its primary means of communication for most people. It is. It sure is. Google doesn't care because Pixel is not their priority. So as a consumer, why would I want to buy a product that the company is not giving their 100% on? Yeah, I put that out. I put a video clip out yesterday expressing that same sentiment. Right. Again, Google will be A-okay if they never sell one more Pixel phone. Apple, if they stop selling phones, they're going to go in the trash. Like, the company may fold. So it's really, really important for Apple to nail these iPhones each and every year. Samsung, they really need to nail these phones each and every year. Google, what do we care? Whatever. See what I'm saying? Makes you think twice about their products, right? And I'm not saying, again, not all their products are shitty, but I'm just saying, if a company knows they absolutely have to hit on this phone, chances are they're going to do a pretty good job, especially with the technology, the R&D, the people that work there, their suppliers. Like, I think that's the bigger picture here. I think that's what a lot of people are not realizing, including myself. But I think that's a big issue. I think that's one of the main sources of this issue and why Pixel is just never going to be anything near what an iPhone is, or it's never going to be the very best Android phone. Man, it hurts me to say that, but that has to be the source of it, honestly. If you really think of the big picture, it has to be. The split screen's the only thing I miss. Seriously, looking across the room right now? Yes, Fold 8 looking at you. Yeah, ours is being used right now. So I get it, man. Samsung's got some killer devices. I think people are disappointed with Tensor not being 2 nanometer due to part because a lot of leaks pointed at being 2 nanometer instead of 3. They certainly did. A lot of the publications, and look, I'm guilty too, but I'm going off of secondhand information, right? I've tried to reach out to Google to get an interview. I've reached out to Motorola, to OnePlus, to nothing. I've reached out to everybody and everybody ghosted me. So all the information I have is the information y'all have, public information, right? But yeah, that's what we were led to believe. And it sucks that it's not turning out to be that, quite honestly. I think a lot of people feel slighted today. I, for one of them, do. It just sucks. I mean, I wasn't betting the house on this phone, but even if I wasn't going to buy the phone, I still wanted them to do the 2 nanometer. I still wanted them to. That's a big deal. I think I started this stream. It's a big deal, right? Even if you don't buy the phone, it's a big deal that they make the jump to 2 nanometer. It's a big deal that they offer the very first chipset, the very first 2 nanometer chipset in the United States. That's technology. That's advancement. That's bragging rights, even though you might not want to look over at the benchmark results, but 2 nanometer chipset, that's a bragging right. Hey, we're the first to offer 2 nanometer in the US. Whoa, that's badass. You know, it's a big deal. Yeah, they are. And again, that's how they achieved their 20% efficiency over previous year. Is not because they did a reduction in the size of the nanometer of the chipset. It's because they removed a core they ripped out a core from the CPU. So that's how they achieved their 20% better efficiency. And we all thought, oh wow, damn, that 2 nanometer chipset's pretty freaking efficient. No, they just ripped out a core out of the CPU. That's why it's 20% more efficient. I'm like, that's what I'm saying. Today, I'm getting all this info, and I'm like, whoa, my head explodes. And I'm like, what the hell? It's all starting to make sense. It has nothing to do with 2 nanometer because you can make high performance silicon with 3 nanometer like every other chipset manufacturer. Google doesn't want to do it, and that's fine. That's true. And if you go read a couple of the articles, it costs money. It's not cheap to do 2 nanometer. Maybe they didn't want to go that extra mile and invest that extra, 7% on their chip budget, right? It's not cheap. That's their most expensive chip that TSMC offers, is the 2 nanometer. So yeah, I mean, today, being hindsight 2020, it all makes sense now. But leading up to it, I thought they were kind of, making some progress. Wow, okay, I see you. I'm watching you from afar. I'm watching, observing. Okay, pretty impressive. And today, they just, shit all all over that. But yeah, it's clear. It's not important to them. It's never been important to them. And it won't be, at least for the foreseeable future. Again, maybe 10 years, 15, 20 years, maybe things will change. But right now, it's not important. It's certainly not. Not like it is to Samsung, right? Or Apple, or Xiaomi, right? Exactly. Well, that's the whole point. You can't, why the hell are you charging $1,500 when I can get, it's just, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to differentiate themselves by software. That's why when you watch these launches, it's all AI this, AI that. Oh, you Rambler support, teleprompter support, creator support, blah, 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 blah. I don't think they realize, who uses all that? With all the AI stuff, and I'm technically inclined, I don't use half of the AI, not even close to half of the AI that they all, showcase on these phones. I use one or two, but that's about it. I think this whole AI thing is way overblown. I think these tech companies think AI is way more important than us, the end consumer. Yeah, I use one or two things, but not like not like for everything I do. In fact, I don't know anybody that does that. But that's the only thing that they have to offer over Apple or Samsung. And hell, even Samsung offers most everything you can do on a Pixel, So they really got to bring something to the table to offer $1,500, $1,000 for one of their phones. And in my eyes, it's just not worth it. I wish Google put more effort into the Pixel line. I'm sick of US being the only two pony show between Sammy and Apple. Me too. What I really want to happen is Motorola to officially launch the Signature 2, the second version of the Signature. Bring it to the US, make it official, sell it on your official US website, and the masses will come. Now, you specifically watching this might not buy it, but I guarantee you they are going to sell a decent amount of signatures if they make it official in the United States. People are starving for another manufacturer to come here. It's absolutely heartbreaking. It almost brings a tear to my eye that all we have, trust me, I struggle with this all the time. That's why I'm so upset and pissed off about this whole Pixel thing is because, damn it, there goes another one of my phones. There goes another one of my options, you know? So I cross that one off the list. So all I'm stuck with is Apple, which, trust me, I'm not going to be using. So Samsung is it. That's it. It's not good when there's no competition. That means Samsung can do whatever they want to their phones, and us iPhone haters are going to have to buy the Samsung. So what if they stop caring about producing a good phone? Now, yeah, you can go to eBay, you can buy a Xiaomi, you can buy an Oppo. But what about going to a carrier? What about people that can't afford $1,000 or $1,500 for a phone? Well, what if you break the display? Where do you go get it fixed? At iFixit down the street? You got to mail it in? Good luck mailing your phone to China and getting it back with a broken display. I'm sure you could probably do that, but you really want to attempt that? Sounds like a pain in the ass. You think the average person wants to attempt to do that? Hell no. So, man, yeah, it sucks. I'm sick of it too. That's why I need Motorola to step up to the plate and bring us a flagship experience for the US consumer. Right? It was cool that they did the Razr Fold, but I don't like foldables. And it's $2,000. Bring us a flagship $1,000 smartphone, preferably less. You get the point. A flagship experience. Make it official. I guarantee you would fill that void of people needing a flagship phone that don't want to use Samsung. I get it. That don't want to use Apple. Okay, give us an option. I'm telling you, Motorola, you would sell phones here. I know all you want to do is mid-range and budget stuff, but I'm not buying that shit. Google has partners, so they really won't go 100% on Pixels. They just need to have something just in case. And it seems like it. As each day goes on, it seems more and more like the case. Do you think the Pixel 9 Pro is a better choice for all the AI shenanigans Google is cooking up in the future over the 11 Pro, being that the 9 Pro has 16 gigs of RAM and 11 Pro has 12? Yeah. And there's no 200 charging cycle limit on the Pixel 9 series. And I think I mentioned that earlier in the show, maybe about 30 minutes ago. We got to do a giveaway. Let's do that. Let me wrap this up. We'll do a giveaway. I got off and forgot. Yeah, I would say the Pixel 9 series, obviously no 200 charging cycle limit and SIM card support. And it performs better on benchmark tests. So that's like, again, Pixel 9 is a sweet spot. Okay, so if you're watching this on TikTok, I can only do the giveaway on YouTube. So if you want to enter the giveaway, please be my guest. I'm going to do it here in just a minute or two, but I want to give everybody on TikTok a chance to jump over to YouTube. It's a StreamYard thing. Now, maybe I can do giveaways on TikTok. I have no clue, but maybe I'll look into it after this, but easiest thing for me to do right now is do one on StreamYard, which I got YouTube hooked up to it. So if you're watching this on TikTok and you want to enter the giveaway, jump over to YouTube, open the YouTube app, search eSIM Studios. eSIM Studios will pop up on the results list, and select the live stream. You'll see that we're live, and join the chat. Now I'm going to need to put a hashtag in there to give you the keyword, which I'll do in just a second. Let's see here. Any more questions? I know. You're telling me. I will take your advice. I am staying away, sir. It's hard to compete because Apple Samsung 93%. That's the other monopoly. I could go off on another tangent, but and they want it that way. Apple and Samsung know that. They want Samsung doesn't want Motorola and the carriers. Samsung doesn't want to see nothing at Best Buy. Samsung, they want it to be Samsung. And obviously their number one competitor, which is Apple. So yeah, it's like a monopoly. Trust me, there's a bunch of behind the scenes stuff going on. There's a bunch of lobbying. There's a bunch of, reach arounds going on, and you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back, all that stuff going on behind the scenes, which is why we're in us the end user, we get screwed every time. So they certainly could, and who knows, they might choose to do that in the future. But you're also not saying it's a shitty phone. You're talking about the iPhone or the Pixel? Way more advanced. Like, people were playing Red Dead Redemption 2 at 45 frames per second on the OnePlus 13 using their Steam account emulated on GameHub. I've never been a gamer. I don't even know what that means. I know what emulation is. I know what GameHub is. I know what Steam is, but I've heard of Red Dead Redemption, but I get it. It's not only a shitty phone, but it's not worth what they're charging. Hell no, it's not. I agree. It's actually not a mid-range phone. You don't think so? It's only the silicon that's mid-range. Most people are never going to use raw power in those chips that you are comparing it to. The only problem with Google is their prices. I agree. If Google was charging for, it's probably on the low end, $500, $600, $700 at the most, I would never even have this live stream. I wouldn't have anything to complain about. So yeah, that's the problem, is the price. You're exactly right. Because if it was $700, everyone would be like, okay, wouldn't have this big outcry. Yes, exactly. Like, I could defend the Pixel 6, Pixel 7 because they were coming in at $600 MSRP, undercutting the S22 and the iPhone 13 by a couple $100. Let's see. So what does this say? Who the hell puts a Power VR GPU in a flagship phone and charges these prices? Google has set. I wish. So here's not a complete fix. And again, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Maybe there's a bad relationship there. Maybe Google burned the bridge. Maybe somebody else burned the bridge. I don't know. But can't Google? Oh, I know they can, but why don't they drop Power VR, Imagination Technologies Power VR GPU? Why don't they use ARM's Mali GPUs like MediaTek? It's a pretty strong GPU. I know they're not concerned about that. They're not worried about benchmark scores. Okay, I get it. So they could care less, but they're not worried. They're not embarrassed at this. It's pretty embarrassing, right? Maybe they just don't care. I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe they're watching this laughing at me. I have no clue, but apparently they don't care. You think you're going to get it, huh? I'll be just fine. No need anywhere to be jumping off curbs. It wasn't for boosted trade-ins, the added discount promo with BB, and the $200 gift card. Yeah, it's a hard buy. All right, let's do this giveaway because I'm going to sit here another 30 minutes and read comments. Let's get out of here on this. Okay, Jesus Christ. Giveaway time. Been a long day. So here's what I want you to do. Enter the giveaway by entering hashtag gift in the YouTube chat. That's all you got to do. Hashtag gift in the YouTube chat, live stream chat, and we'll do a giveaway here. So I'll get you a Cash App money transfer and or an Amazon gift card, e-gift card that I can just shoot right to your email address, your Amazon account. Now, if you're watching us on TikTok, go over to YouTube. Again, I've already explained myself. Maybe there is a giveaway on TikTok. I have no freaking clue. But I have it set up through StreamYard giveaway tool. So if you're watching us on TikTok and you want to enter the giveaway, go to the YouTube application, open it up, enter eSIM Studios in the search bar. You'll see us live. Click our live and then click the chat. Enter the chat. You enter hashtag gift and let me set it up. I'll get with you in just a minute. ZQHT Pro, you are the winner. Congratulations to you. Appreciate you joining us today. Email me when this is done here in just a second. esimstudios@gmail.com. esimstudios@gmail.com. If you need it's also listed, my email address down below in the description box if you need to remember. I will get you your cash here in the next few minutes. Now, if you did not win, make sure you subscribe to the channel because I do giveaways every week. I see a number of people in the chat that have won a bunch of stuff. So I actually share my YouTube revenue with you. So subscribe to the channel, and we got plenty. Sorry, my cat's about to jump on the table and mess up everything, so I gotta go. But email me, I'll get you your money. Subscribe to the channel. We got a lot more Pixel stuff to go. So I'm gonna we're getting one. We're gonna be testing it out. I'm gonna do some video comparisons, camera comparisons with the Samsung foldables. I'm gonna record here in just a minute, and got some other stuff I'm cooking up for y'all. So I appreciate the time. Please have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Please be safe. Peace.
Yeah. Woo.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kit.